Rob, and this video we're going to do a review of The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug. Okay guys, welcome back. First I'm going to start off and say this. I love the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I'm a huge fan of it. There's nothing about it that disappoints me, even though there might be some things about it that are not correct or people may criticize. I just adore the series too much to even think about criticizing it. It's just one of those movies that in my eyes does no wrong, and that's just my opinion. With that said, I wasn't too impressed with the first Hobbit movie. I did enjoy it because I was back in that world. I was seeing certain characters that I enjoyed, like Frodo, and obviously Gandalf played a big role. Frodo had a small part, but there was some things about it that I was like, okay, I could have done without that. But overall, I still enjoyed it. Obviously, it's part of my collection. Now, for this movie, completely different tone. We pretty much more or less pick up where we leave off with the characters. The movie moves at a very similar pace to the other movies. They're at point A. They got to get to point B. There's a lot of walking in between, some fighting, some interesting characters, but nothing to. And again, I'm going to try and keep this as spoiler free as possible. Some interesting characters they meet along the way, and then more or less they get to their destination. And pretty much, to be quite honest with you, the highlight of this movie is the dragon. He steals the show when he finally arrives. He's such a. It's amazing how they brought the dragon to life. It's not just a monster that wants to kill everything. I mean, yes, that's what it does. That's what it's best at. But there's something regal about the dragon. There's something about the dragon that's almost divine in such an evil way, and that's what made it so interesting to watch. And in some crazy way, and maybe this is just me because, as you guys know, I love villain characters. There's something about the dragon I just wanted to root for him, and not because he showed any redeeming qualities, not because he showed anything about him that could be good. He is pure evil. It's just the way he delivers himself, and the way he talks and the way he goats. He knows he's a badass. He will taunt, he will tease, he will poke fun, and then he will try to kill you. So, I mean, he's the highlight of the movie. Is the movie bad? No, no. In fact, it's a pretty good improvement over the prior installment. But he's a big reason as to why I think the movie's successful. Now, I think one thing that people are gonna have an issue with is how the movie ends. I'm not gonna say what happens, but you'll understand what I mean when you see it. But up to that point, I mean, you get to see Gandalf almost in a very similar position as he was in, I want to say, was it no, it was Fellowship of the Ring, or maybe it was, no, it was Fellowship of the Ring, where he kind of confronts Saruman, and he realizes that Saruman is a bad guy. He gets into a situation similar to that. But one thing I like is that Gandalf's a wizard, that he knows magic, but you never really see him use it a lot. And that to me is a good thing because you don't want to oversaturate that kind of stuff. He seems to use it when he needs it. And he has a few tricks up his sleeve in this film that I thought was really cool, and I liked seeing that. The other wizard, the brown wizard, or Radamast, I think his name is, or that guy I can do without. I don't even know why he's in. I mean, I don't remember anything about the book. I read it a long time ago as a kid. I'm sure he's in it, but I could do without him. The whole bird shit stain, and I don't know. He just, I just, that's just me. You know what I mean? But my only criticism of this movie, and even the first one, is these movies do not need to be as long as Peter Jackson's making them. I mean, there's some parts that just drag out, and they get stretched out. It's almost like he's purposely trying to make this into another epic trilogy when it shouldn't even be a trilogy. It could very well be one movie, maybe two. But if you're gonna make it a trilogy, there's nothing wrong with making the movies an hour and a half, an hour and 20 minutes. All right, maybe that's short. An hour and a half at the least. But 2 hours and 40 minutes, I mean, as much as I was enjoying the movie, I started to just get heavy-eyed because there are parts that it kind of drags out. And it's not the early part of the movie. It's kind of like in the middle. The other part of the movie is great. There's this whole scene that takes place when the dwarves are trying to escape. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but they're trying to escape a dungeon, and they go through this whole process of escaping, and it's just so entertaining. And I see some when I was watching the scene, I kept thinking to myself, "Wow, this reminds me of Mario Brothers or something crazy like that." And but it was so entertaining. It was hilarious, and you just saw some great fighting. The other thing, if I had to criticize, would be the overindulgence of CGI. I mean, do we really need to see Legolas riding a horse over a bridge in CGI? Can he not do that in real life? So little things like that. But you know what? Overall, it was very entertaining. I don't want to spoil anything because I know it just came out tonight, but I would definitely go watch it. If nothing, even if you're not a fan of the first one and you were considering maybe not seeing the second one, go see it for the dragon. The dragon alone is worth the price of admission. You get a lot of him. You may think that some people may be under the misconception that you get to the dragon and then the movies, that's towards the end of the movie. No, you get a lot of the dragon and you get a lot of good stuff with him. It was the beginning and the late middle going into the end of the movie were great. The middle, I wasn't too, like I said, it kind of dragged for me a little bit. But overall, I enjoyed the movie. Obviously Ian McKellen is a fantastic actor. He's a very, very good character in the movie, obviously as Gandalf. But Smaug steals the show in this movie for sure. They definitely did the right thing by highlighting him. Great character. Some great fighting sequences. A little too much CGI for certain things that I don't think they needed to use it for. And a slow-paced middle of the movie. But outside of that, it was great. It was very entertaining, and I would go watch it again. So anyway, guys, that's my review for The Hobbit. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you check it out. And if you do, please comment on the areas below. I want to know what you guys think of the movie, and I'll see you next video. Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. I'm your host Rob, and this video we're going to do a review of The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug. Okay guys, welcome back. So first I'm going to start off and say this. I love the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I'm a huge fan of it. There's nothing about it that disappoints me, even though there might be some things about it that are not correct or people may criticize. I just adore the series too much to even think about criticizing it. It's just one of those movies that in my eyes does no wrong, and that's just my opinion. With that said, I wasn't too impressed with the first Hobbit movie. I did enjoy it because I was back in that world. I was seeing certain characters that I enjoy, like, Frodo, and obviously Gandalf played a big role. Frodo had a small part. But there were some things about it that I was like, okay, I could have done